This is really just a continuation of the more than month of protests that Hong Kong has seen. Today was actually one of the bigger ones we've seen in the last couple of weeks as well. Organisers saying that there were about 100,000 people or so in Sha Tin, which, as you said in your introduction, is an area of Hong Kong in the New Territories, which is quite popular with Chinese mainland tourists. And really, this is keeping that drum beating against this extradition law, and also capitalising on a lot of anti-China sentiment at the moment. Now, earlier in the day, the protests were peaceful. At about 5 p.m. local time, we got reports of some minor scuffles with police using pepper spray, which was really mirroring the scenes that we saw at a smaller protest yesterday near the mainland border. And right now, there's a pretty tense situation along the bridge that leads into this area. You've got police on one side, and about 20 to 30 metres away, a group of protesters who were in hard hats, who were wearing vests and holding umbrellas, almost gearing up for another confrontation. We've just actually heard from a few people on the ground there that there has been some sort of peace brokered between the police and the protesters for now, and essentially one group isn't going to try to charge the other. But it is still early days, and from what we've heard from people who are actually there on the ground, a few of these protesters are settling in for a long night, and if history is anything to go by over the past few weeks here in Hong Kong, that could turn into some pretty ugly scenes. So here's hoping that all's well that ends well.
Joel, the Chief Executive, Carrie Lam, has said that the extradition bill is dead. She stopped short of withdrawing it, but she said it's dead. So explain to us what these protests are about now and what it is that these protesters want.
Well, for starters, they don't buy what Carrie Lam is saying. The Chief Executive has been saying for the last couple of weeks that the bill is dead. It's not going to make an appearance. But protesters, among their list of demands, want to see this withdrawn. And they want the Chief Executive to use the word withdraw, because that effectively means it is no longer on the government agenda. It won't make an appearance. They also are taking issue with the fact that back on June 12, when the protests first turned violent in Hong Kong and we saw tear gas used, that those involved were labelled rioters. And they want that scrapped because that could have wide-ranging implications on the criminality side of things as well. And if this bill ever did rear its head again, well, China may look at rioters as political dissidents, and therefore the very extradition bill that they were fighting against could end up claiming them. So among a list of about 5 demands, that is the reason why these protests are still going on, and more are planned for the coming days as well. So this is not over by any stretch.